It's Saturday morning, the 7th of September, year of our Lord 2024. We're doing live. Let's Not Do This podcast. You got the Big O here alongside two of the three unwise men. The man wearing the Washington Commanders shirt, getting ready to go 0-1 to start their season tomorrow. One Scotty, two Hottie. How are you, sir?
A little irritated, to be honest. Stayed up to watch the Nerd Bowl last night. Me and Chris were both on the under. It was 26 points in regulation. So we were obviously on the right side of the bet, and then stupid college overtime. Touchdown. Bullshit. But, yeah, and that's when you know, like, you have money. You know how all rich people have a lake house?
Yeah.
It's like their lake stadium. Like, oh, yeah, we're getting renovations done, so we're just going to live here on the freaking lake.
That's a good point. Well, when you're betting two schools between Illinois and Northwestern who are famous for chanting, "That's all right, that's okay, you will work for us someday," you should have knew what you were getting into there. So, but the good news is half of those guys from Northwestern will be working for a newspaper that will be out of business in 3 years. So they got that going for them. And then speaking of being out of business, the man who hasn't worked in many years, one Chris Green. How are you, sir?
I'm waking up.
Weren't you panhandling earlier? You may need to start panhandling. Well, we'll get into the records a little bit later. But ladies and gentlemen, you may want to take what he says with a grain of salt right now because you will be downtown.
Go ahead and start sending me donations because I'm going to be homeless here soon.
Hey man, did I tell y'all? So my family does not come from money, and I have a friend of the family a few years ago that I was talking to that panhandles sometimes, and he was trying to talk me into doing it. He's like, "I got $100 there today." He's like, "You should try it." I'm like,
well,
like, bro, I work 45 hours a week. I'm like, no.
Hey, there's always gigolo life, and I'm sure you could go to the nursing homes and make a nice little bit of money there. Which reminds me of a business that I've thought of before, where you have like rent a grandkid. It's actually quite sad, but you go to the nursing homes where you get these people that no one comes and visits them, and you just like be their grandkid for the afternoon. You just listen to them tell stories about buying candy with a buffalo nickel, and they pinch your cheeks, and you show them pictures of your kids or whatever, and then you do it all over again next week. They can just like rent you for like the day. It's like Uber but for like families.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I'll do anything at this point.
Yeah, Chris, you can disappoint a whole other generation that you don't even know. It'll be great. All right, so we're doing lines here. We're going to get into our college football, and this guy just walks off in the middle of the show.
I'm grabbing a pen so I can write our picks down. Relax.
Yeah. So we're going to get into our college football and our NFL picks here in just a little bit. These guys alluded to last night the Duke Northwestern game and the shenanigans there going to overtime. And then, of course, Indiana breaking the scoreboard. Literally, the scoreboard broke in Bloomington. I don't think they've seen 77 points in anything that wasn't the basketball game. And it's been a little bit since they've probably seen 77 on the basketball court too. But 77-3, they took out the mighty Leathernecks of Western Illinois. And, of course, BYU and SMU, I watched that. But the big thing was last night was Green Bay and Philadelphia taking place in Brazil. I haven't seen guys slipping and falling on the field as much since NC State hosted Carolina last year at Carter Finley. And I don't know if Carolina just didn't bring their Jordan sneakers or they went to Target and bought something. I don't know. But they were on ice skates like that entire game. And NC State hopped out to that big lead and got the win. It was like that yesterday, but for both teams. I mean, guys were going, what was it? Saquon's first carry, I think, as an Eagle. He blew a tire and went down. Of course, he found pay dirt 3 times yesterday. So he had that going for him. But what do you guys think about the Brazil game yesterday?
It was fun until I went to bed midway through the third quarter. That field was atrocious. They got every international game seems to be terrible field conditions. Didn't they cancel the Mexico City game a couple years ago and move it back to the States because the field was so bad?
I believe
it was Kansas City and San Francisco.
Yeah, I believe the surface at Estadio Azteca was pretty bad, if I remember correctly.
So you would think the NFL would go in there and make sure that the fucking grass was good before they decide to put their multi-million-dollar show ponies out there for the world to see, but apparently not.
And Corinthians had a game, I want to say, like last Sunday, I want to say there. I'm not sure if they did anything to the surface between now and then. Obviously, sometimes when you like put the paint down, there can be some slick spots there depending on when they painted the field. But I mean, guys were just blowing tires at the 10-yard line, in like the middle of the field and stuff. I don't know what the hell was going on there. And then, of course, Scotty, you're a Commandos fan as you're wearing the shirt there. Saquon getting to the end zone 3 times. He's making the move over from New York to Philadelphia. Does it scare you now that he looks even better behind an actually competent offensive line?
A little bit, yeah, because the Eagles weren't really in sync. I mean, I guess that's to be expected week 1, but it was a little scary just seeing how good he looked and that they still won with not even looking that good. But yeah, going to the field, like they preach player safety, but they can't hire a quality guy to check the field. And like, oh, maybe we should move this, or maybe we should, I don't know, do something to the field where they're not slipping every 5 plays. Cost me a first touchdown bet, probably 4 plays last night.
Yeah.
Well, the first one wasn't because of the field; it was just a bad throw. But I had Christian Watson at plus 1,400. He slipped once, and then he dropped the pass once, and then Dobbs, I had him like boosted to like plus 23 something, and then he slips 1 yard from the end zone. Yeah, I was irritated. I did have Saquon, but at much worse odds. But yeah, fix the field, stop playing on soccer stadiums, invest in an actual football field if you want to play games over there every year. Yeah. But yeah, the game was, I think I was the only one that hit the NFL bet last night. Yeah, you might want to fade us for a week or two.
Well, but
figure out what the hell we're doing.
We're getting, we're getting started. It's a slow start, It's like a tractor trailer, It's got to get in the gear. But once it gets going, it's going. But it's just, you got to go through the gears.
You did hit your college bet last night, Leon. Me and Chris got, like I had stated before, a bad beat on the under. So yeah, we're still not good, but we're getting better.
Hey, I believe in my Storming Mormons, okay? BYU, I've been riding them for years. All right, those Cougars, I knew that they were going to keep things interesting. Did not expect it to be such a low-scoring game as it was. But in the battle of Methodists versus Mormons, the Mormons win. So magic underwear for everybody, and Mitt Romney putting the dog on top of the car. That's for everyone. There we go. Go.
Have
Mormons.
you been riding them or soaking them?
Ooh, it was actually a what was it? The jump hump, trust hump, whatever it's called. Yeah. Scotty, you may need Chris to jump hump for you sometime.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Speaking of doing what you gotta do, real quick before we get into our picks, I am on X right now, and hopefully my tabs don't give away anything bad here. But I saw this.
People in Brazil.
Yes.
Real quick, did you see where like the reporters, they had to relay like stuff to their families, and then their wives were using their Twitter account to post stuff?
Yes, because they couldn't live tweet there since X is banned. Because we all need 37 Eagles reporters tweeting 5-yard carry for Saquon. The people that do that on Twitter like drive me nuts. Like, okay, I get it. Who's actually watching Twitter? Like, I went to bed yesterday because I'm old and I got tired too. But I pulled up the old TuneIn app and listened to the game on Westwood One on there. I listened to the rest of it. But who's actually following along on X? Oh, man, a 7-yard out throw from Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. Oh, I really needed, XYZ reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer to tweet that. Oh, boy.
They should have just been on Threads, right?
Does that still exist? Is that still a thing? That was a nice 2 weeks that Threads had.
Yeah.
But I saw this online just now. The wonderful, talented, and massively beautiful Lucy Burge, that's with BetMGM. She posted this just now. And Chris, we have found where your first home is going to be. I don't know if you can see that on my screen there. But apparently she was out for a stroll this morning. And if you can't tell, that says Clown Alley. And she says, went here and everyone knew you. So I'm not sure where Clown Alley is, but we will be looking for real estate there because, Chris, we have the natural first home for you there. You get a nice starter home. It'll be nice.
I think that's the road we've been making all our bets at. That's where we go to place our bets so far this season.
Pretty much. So, all right. Speaking of bets, let's get into it here. We'll start with college football. Big day of college football. There's some good games, a couple of good top 25 matchups, and then there's some stinkers as well, with a couple rivalry games and everything interspersed in. So, let's shift on over to the realm of Scotty. And speaking of rivalries, looks like you are going to start things off with a rivalry game. The Cy-Hawk Trophy is on the line there.
Yeah, man, and I'm actually not betting the under or the over in this game. This was at 2, so I don't like that it went back up to 3. So I have a feeling it might go back down to 2.5, maybe. But I'm going Iowa -3. They might have a quarterback now that's halfway decent. If that's the case, they're going to be a scary team to play. Iowa State is going to need to be able to run the ball, and they were not able to do that last week against North Dakota, which is troubling. Yeah, there's probably another.
Fighting Hawks are a good team.
Are they?
Yeah.
I was looking at their record last year, maybe in the past, but I don't think they're that good right now.
Last year's a little rough, but they're a decent FCS program. They'll still be the Fighting Sioux to me, but I digress.
Regardless, you average 3.9 yards a carry at a decent FCS team, and now you're going at Iowa. Yeah, that's a little bit of a different beast. So I just think Iowa's going to shut this team down. McNamara is going to be able to get them enough points to, I think, win by probably double digits. But yeah, definitely give me the 3 points.
Okay, taking the 3. This game isn't on my card, but I did bet this myself personally. Yeah, I like Iowa -3 as well. This could easily be like a 21 type 3 game, 21-7 maybe. I like the Cy-Hawk to stay there in Iowa City.
Yeah, 35.5 is really fucking low. And last week we saw Iowa explode in the second half to fuck me on the under, so I stayed away. Stayed away this week.
All right. So, any thoughts if you had to pick a side?
I would take Iowa, but I wouldn't put any money on it. This is a game that I'm just not touching.
Scotty, you might be fucked there since we're all leaning that way. All right. Yeah. Speaking of rivalries, there another one with a Big Ten team hosting an old rival. Colorado and Nebraska. This game was a fun one for me. When I was growing up, this was one of those games that was on like Thanksgiving weekend all the time. It was like Texas A&M and Texas, and Colorado and Nebraska. It was always fun to see those games, especially in the early to mid-'90s. So it's nice to see Deion's boys coming to Lincoln, where I'm sure they will get a not-so-nice Midwestern welcome there from Big Red Nation.
Yeah, I hope this one is fun again. I need a lot of points. I'm going with the over 55.5. I do think that Colorado keeps this close, even though I'm not a fan of them going forward. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. Two really good quarterbacks, probably trying to prove themselves. You know, Coach Prime is going to try to get Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter their stats to try to get in the Heisman race and their draft stock, and so he could talk about how good those two guys are and not talk about the rest of his team. But anyways, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points and a fun game. And this feels like a 34-31 type of feeling. And yeah, give me the over.
I have bet this card separately as well. I like Nebraska -7. I like Colorado. They've always kind of been a team that I've liked from afar, and I was kind of into Deion when he first came there, but it's beginning to see like the emperor has no clothes right now. I don't know if you guys saw the video that came out a couple days ago where a Colorado coach had resigned this offseason and then got into a fist fight in the parking lot outside the building with a graduate assistant with Warren Sapp filming and commentating in the window. That program is out of fucking control. Everyone is out for themselves. There's no camaraderie. There's no playing as a team. Remember what Oregon did to them last year? And Dane Lanning in that great pregame speech, essentially saying substance over style. That's exactly what Matt Rule is preaching at Nebraska. They're tough. They're corn-fed. They're bigger. They're stronger. They're going to punch Colorado in the mouth. It's going to be blowout city. I like Big Red to roll minus that 7.
I hate to agree with Leon, but I think Nebraska boat races them. Colorado has probably the two most talented players in Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, but Nebraska, much better coach in Matt Rule. Raiola looks like he's the real deal. So team over individual, Nebraska big.
The team,
Yeah,
the team.
I do think the wheels are going to fall off on the whole Dion thing, but I actually do think they'll keep it close today. And can we talk about Jimmy Horn?
Yes, please.
For Colorado, because he's probably the fastest guy on the field. He is maybe as good of a receiver as Travis Hunter. Maybe not like with the flashy catches and all that, but he just doesn't get enough credit or attention, and that's his coach's fault. But yeah, no, I do think they'll keep it close this week, and going forward, they're going to start piling up loss after loss, and yeah, he's going to get a lot of negative attention. It's probably going to get ugly, and then he'll be somewhere next year, whether he gets fired or leaves. Yeah.
I don't think they barely had the money to pay him. I don't think they had the money to fire him. And you got to win to be able to leave. So I don't know where he goes, unless some NFL team really wants to sell tickets or something, Commandos or something.
Or Florida State keeps playing DJU.
Yeah, that's very true. Because remember, Travis Hunter was supposed to be a Florida State Seminole, and then he decommitted and went with Dion to Jackson State, and then to Boulder as well. So who knows what happens there? Real quick before we go to the next game on Travis Hunter, what do you guys think at the next level? Well, do you think he'll play both ways, or is just going to be defensive side of the ball?
No, he'll be probably a top 10 corner in the league. He's not playing both sides. There's no way.
Maybe every now and then they'll put him in a formation, maybe a play or two a game. But no, you just can't do that in the NFL. He got hurt last year. It's not happening. I think he'll most likely be a corner. He might want to be a receiver, but it's very hard to find a shutdown corner. There's receivers everywhere, so I think that's where he's going to get his money.
You know what scares me, and I'm already can feel my blood boiling and getting pissed off about it, is this guy's somehow, some way going to – maybe the Bills will make another trade to Kansas City, and Kansas City will draft this motherfucker, and then Andy Reid's going to have him playing DB, and then they're going to come out with some ring around the rosy bullshit formation and, lateral the ball 3 times. The next thing I know is Travis Hunter throwing a touchdown pass to Patrick Mahomes with a flea flicker, and Taylor Swift is twerking in the stands or something. That's like I can already see it happening. I'm already pissed off about it.
Leon,
because you know it's going to happen. Yeah.
Triple option with Mahomes, Worthy, and Travis Hunter. Let's go.
Yeah, Kelsey as a lead blocker. Jesus Christ. Put Harrison Bucker. Well, never mind. Harrison Bucker's been canceled. I was about to say put him out there. He's going to run a crossing route or something. Who knows?
He stopped listening when you said Taylor Swift.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. And then speaking of, all style and no substance, a game that's going on in Los Angeles, USC hosting Utah State. Did you guys see Utah State's helmets last week?
No.
Oh my God, Scotty! While you talk about this game, I got to bring this up. Utah State is an agricultural school. There are the Aggies there in Logan, Utah. Their helmets they had last week were amazing. I'm not sure if they're wearing them this week as they head to USC. But Scotty, your thoughts on this one here?
I'm actually going with Utah State plus the points, plus the 28.5. This is a just traditional letdown spot for USC. They had the big win against LSU primetime game. Next week they got Michigan, I believe. So you can't get up to this game like you are other games, being in between those two. So I just think maybe they play a good first half and then take their foot off the gas. They're not going to leave their guys in if it's a blowout. And I get to see this being a total letdown, and that 28.5 points, that's just too much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, I
agree
got
with you.
I got a stat here. Lincoln Riley is 13-20 against the spread when he's a 21-point favorite. 21-point
Ooh.
plus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
28 and a half is a lot there. We saw a USC defense last year that couldn't stop the wind, couldn't stop anything. So, yeah, I like Utah State.
Yeah,
there
and
plus
that's
the
the
points.
other thing too. So everybody's like, "Oh, USC's defense is so much better," and I'm sure they're improved. But LSU is dinking and dunking that whole game, so I think it's a little skewed. I mean, if you look at the quarterback stats for Nussmeier, he put up decent numbers. It's just they were playing a slow pace and just dinking and dunking. I think their defense looked a little better than they actually were.
The helmet that I have on the screen here is the helmet that they wore last week to celebrate when they were the Agricultural College of Utah. So they wore these, and you can see the cow print on the helmets there. Doesn't really, I'm an NC State fan. It's another ag school. Some people call NC State a cow college, but much like Virginia Tech, kind of being an ag school, doesn't really dispel that cow college moniker. And I'm sure some people will say about Utah State, but I don't mind them embracing it there. That's what happens, you belch kids, when you drink beer at 9:21 in the morning. What are you going to
do? Don't broadcast that.
we're doing lines on Saturday morning. You got to balance it out.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
so that's a pretty sweet helmet. I'm not sure if they're wearing it there, but Chris, any thoughts on this one? Are you backing Scotty on the 28 and a half?
No, I'll go opposite. USC by 40. Why not?
Okay. So, Scotty, to recap your college football picks, you have in the Iowa State game, you went
Iowa -3.
Then Colorado, Nebraska
Over 55.5.
over 55.5, and then Utah, USC, you just went
Utah State +28.5.
Utah State plus 28.5 there. All right, Chris, which, by the way, I forgot to put this up before we gave the picks. Our standings so far, so take these with a
you put it up.
yeah, take these with a grain of salt here. Chris bringing up the rear. Slow start for us all so far. So, Chris, since you're in last place here, we're going to save the best for last, which would be me. So I'm going to let you go first here. You have a little Big 12 showdown here in Stillwater, Arizona, visiting Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Are we sure that's the right? I thought they were playing Arkansas.
They are playing Arkansas.
I put Arkansas. I'm sorry. My brain is not. Sorry about that. Arkansas.
Jeez Louise.
Look, I'm doing lines. All right,
supposed
go
to
on.
make you more alert.
Yeah, it's Arkansas. Excuse me, as I fix that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Not a whole lot of analysis here. I think Arkansas is one of the worst teams in the SEC. So Oklahoma State going to win by more than 10. Yeah, thanks for updating the graphic there, moron.
You know what? It started with an A. This is the problem that I have, and it's caught me. When I worked in this, people would check my graphics behind me. My wife calls me out on this all the time. I don't read things. I look at the first letter of something, or sometimes the first two letters. I assume the rest of the word, and I move on. And a lot of times it works. Sometimes it bites me in the ass. That time it bit me in the ass. But yeah, so not a Big 12 matchup. Two old Southwest Conference foes. No, actually, no. Arkansas wasn't in that Southwest Conference. They were in the Pac-12 back then. I don't know. They have a history. They played before in some old shit back in the day, before like black people were allowed to play or something, probably. But I can say that. I can say that. I'm one of us. But anyway, Arkansas taking on Oklahoma State there.
Yeah, Oklahoma State needs to bolster their resume if they want to get into the playoff. They got something to prove. Arkansas, not great, but a win over an SEC team is a win over an SEC team. So Oklahoma State -10.
Scotty, any thoughts on that?
I'm staying away from this game. I have no read on it, but I'll just fade Chris. Arkansas +10.
I like the under in this one. Oklahoma State, I think, is going to run the ball. They got one of the best backs in the country, Ollie Gordon. I think it was third, as long as you don't, let him, drink and drive. So keep him away from, motor vehicles. If he's sober and it's a 12 p.m. start, that's always a good thing. Just hand him the rock and run the clock. So, yeah, and Arkansas likes to run the ball too. And my man, I don't have my clip here of him, but I do love my man, Sam Pittman. I don't think he's going to be drinking any cold beer when this one's over, though. I think the Pokes will come out with the win on this one, though. All right, next up on your card, Christopher, and I know you did this just to be mean, is Tennessee taking on NC State in Charlotte. Good tickets still available from what I hear. Tennessee fans have not sold their allotment, but then I hear that Tennessee fans are buying NC State tickets on the secondary market. So who knows? But Tennessee wearing their all-white Stormtrooper look today too, all white helmets and everything, taking on NC State in Charlotte.
Yeah, big talent gap here. Even bigger coaching gap. Tennessee by at least 3 touchdowns. NC State going to go back to being unranked where they should be. They're going to prove that they're not the best team in the ACC. That would probably be Miami this year.
Maybe Vanderbilt if they were in.
But yeah, Tennessee rolls pretty easily. They're probably going to score 40, so we might hit that over as well. But I'll go Tennessee -9.
I have my state shirt on right now. I love NC State. I did not put this game on the card, but if I had to be a betting man, I would take Tennessee minus the 9 points there. I think the key for NC State is just surviving the early storm. Nico, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I think we saw some cracks in that state defense last week against Western Carolina. I think as the season goes on, they're really going to miss Peyton Wilson. Hopefully, Caden Fordham doesn't get ejected on the first series like he did last week. That'll be nice. But yeah, I think there's just a gap of talent. Coaching, remember, Dave Doran turned down Tennessee a few years ago to stay at NC State. So we got that going for us. But yeah.
Best thing that happened to Tennessee in a long time.
I think
since Peyton Manning.
I think State, hangs around, but I think Tennessee probably wins this game by 2 scores.
Wow. Actually, I disagree with both of you. I wanted to bet Tennessee. And they're clearly the better team, but I don't know. This is more of a gut feeling. I feel like NC State's going to keep this close. Probably Tennessee by 7. I think everybody's just all over Tennessee. I think maybe might get to their head a little bit, a little overblown by they played Tennessee Chattanooga last week. Is that who they played?
Yeah, the Mocs.
Yeah. So I mean, wow, who cares? So I think going in playing a real team. I think especially to start out. I think NC State might jump ahead a little bit, and then Tennessee goes ahead in the fourth quarter, wins by a touchdown.
One thing I will say about this game, this NC State has 2 big games on their schedule. This game and Clemson. And Clemson looks like to be a kind of a shadow of what we thought they were going to be, at least through game 1 against Georgia. Everyone's saying this is NC State's Super Bowl. They can still make the playoff if they do what they're supposed to do the rest of the season and lose this game. So even if they get smoked, I don't think it's going to hurt them. But I think they keep this game rather competitive here. It'll be interesting to see Casey Concepcion against an SEC team because he's got SEC talent. So it'll be interesting to see him against that. But they need Grayson McCall to play better than he did last week if they got any shot whatsoever. So. All right. Well, that is that one there. And then, Chris, next up for you is Boise State going to Autzen Stadium, taking on the Oregon Ducks.
I think I'm on Oregon here. I think last week they were holding back. They were moving the ball very well. They just couldn't capitalize. They played Idaho last week. Boise State did what they were supposed to do. So I think people are expecting Boise State to keep this close. I think Oregon comes out and they blow the doors off of Boise State. Talent gap is huge. Oregon's got something to prove after last week, and they also want to make a playoff. So they're going to do their damnedest to make every easy game look easy from now on. Once they get into the Big Ten, it's going to be a lot tougher. So I think Oregon makes a statement here. Oregon minus 19.
Scotty, you agree with that?
I don't know. Probably if I had to pick a side, is what it would be. Like Chris was saying, Oregon was in a tough game that they shouldn't have been against Idaho, but they were probably a little better than what the scoreboard said. They just couldn't capitalize on some opportunities. So maybe they come out and they actually look like Oregon and just blow the brakes off. But man, I don't know. Dylan Gabriel's supposed to be this Heisman front runner, and maybe he's just not that good. So yeah, I could see it going either way. But if I had to bet it, I'd probably bet Oregon.
Idaho last week was, I think, concerning. I think that some Oregon fans thinking maybe early they hit the panic button. As Chris said, they were moving the ball. They just couldn't punch it in the red zone. And they may have been holding a little bit back last week. And that's a damn good Vandal team, and they're well coached. That's a good FCS team. I actually have this game on my card as well. So this will be my first pick for my picks. Listen, Boise State has a running back, Ashton Gentry's Jr. Last week, and albeit I know it's Georgia Southern, but going down to Statesboro is a tough place to play. They went down there. He put 267 on the ground and 6 touchdowns, both school records there. I think they'll be able to keep pace a little bit. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I don't think they're going to win this game. I don't know if I want to flirt with the over, but I do like Boise State plus the 19 points here. I think they'll keep it interesting enough. If you like fireworks, this is probably an interesting game to turn into. And by the way, good for you, Peacock, for putting something on after last night. You know, everyone that bought that subscription for 1 month, you get to see one more game this evening there. So I like Boise State plus the 19 points there.
Good.
All right.
I'm
Chris,
glad to be on the opposite side of you.
There you go. So, Chris, to recap for you, you had Arkansas, Oklahoma State. You went
Oklahoma State
minus 10. Tennessee, NC State. You went
Tennessee minus, what was it, 9?
Yeah,
it
minus
doesn't
the
matter.
9.
Whatever the number is. I might alt it up.
Oh, you couldn't know. Tennessee minus 27. Just go ahead and move it over. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and then you like Oregon minus the 19 against Boise State. As we mentioned on mine, I have that game on my card as well. I'm on the opposite side on that one with Boise State plus the 19. And then since I'm going to work backwards, then instead of going in chronological, I'm going to work backwards. So then 8 o'clock on the ACC network, get App State going down to Death Valley to take on Clemson. Listen, Clemson got worked last week against Georgia. A lot of teams will get worked against Georgia. But here's the problem. Clemson used to be one of those teams that you said those things about. Oh, hey, you get your brains beat in. That's what happens when you play Clemson. Clemson isn't your older brother's Clemson anymore. And it starts with the quarterback position. Klubnik, I'm just not sold on him. They haven't hit on the quarterback position in a while. And you see all the flack that DJU took when he was there, and you see him struggling at Florida State. Dabo just hasn't hit on that, and they refuse to use the portal to bring in guys. And I don't know. I think this is a pivotal time for Clemson. And honestly, I feel like this is an 8-4 kind of looking team from what I saw last week. And listen, Coach Clark, he's got a great team there in App State. They're going to cause some problems there in the Sun Belt. Those boys are coming down off the mountain. Their fans travel. That's a tough team. Look, they went into Kyle Field and beat A&M last year. So big-time environments doesn't matter to this group. I'm not going to take them outright, but don't be surprised if they spring that upset. But I'm going to take App State plus the 16.5 points.
I like it. I actually have a future on App State to make the playoff. So, yeah, I'm going App State just because of that. But no, like you said, you can't feel confident laying this many points with Clemson against really anybody right now.
Yeah. Chris?
Nope. App State's always a live dog. I think Clemson is they're a lot better than they looked last week. It was fucking Georgia. Georgia's the best team by far in the country. Clemson's defense is still top notch. So I don't know. I'd just take the under in this game.
Okay. And then the last the last college game on my dance card here is the game of the day, which is weird because it's a noon kick, but that's Fox for you with big noon kickoff there. Michigan going into Ann Arbor, Michigan in Ann Arbor hosting Texas there. Texas given the 7 points and an over-under at 41.5. Listen, we saw Michigan last week look less than stellar, especially offensively. I have some concerns here. Everyone thinks that Michigan's going to out-physical Texas, that Texas is built kind of similar to how Ohio State is. Texas plays really good defense, and we saw Michigan have trouble moving the ball last week. And I think Texas is a lot tougher team physically, especially in the trenches, that people give them credit for. I like Texas to go in here, and I'm not going to move that line, but I like them honestly to win by 2 scores. But I'll take Texas minus the 7 points here. I really think that they're going to go in. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's going to be one of those games that's going to be further apart than what the score indicates. I think Texas is going to go in there and show that they're just a more talented, better team. Michigan lost so much in terms of coaching staff and players, and they're not the same team as they were last year, and they don't look like they have that same bite. This Texas team is primed to make a run possibly for a national championship. So I like the Longhorns to go in and win by 7 or more.
Yeah, me too. This probably would have been the 4th game of my card. I think at worst you get a push here. Maybe Michigan's defense can keep it somewhat close, but yeah, Texas, too much talent. They're going to win by at least a touchdown.
Christian, you thoughts?
All right. Well, this was almost my upset pick of the week. I love a good home dog, especially in a big game like this. I think Texas won one big game last year. That was against Alabama. They don't have a history of doing that in the last, 20 years since they won their championship with Vince Young. I'm not convinced that Quinn Ewers is that good anyways. So I would take Michigan plus 7. Definitely the under on this game too. It's going to be a fucking madhouse in Ann Arbor. I don't know if Texas has played in an environment like that in a long time. I don't know. My feeling is Michigan. I don't trust Texas with anything. So until they prove me wrong, I'm going to keep fading them.
My wife has a cousin who is in law school right now at Michigan, and I saw him at a family function over the summer. And I was asking him just about going to games there. He's like, yeah, since I've been there, I just haven't missed a game. He's maize and blue through and through now. And I've never been more jealous of someone than I am right now, because that is going to the big house anyways on my bucket list of things to do. But then going there and having Texas roll in there and just that momentum of a game, this big of a game, this early in the season, this is what we need. We need more of these big games. I don't need to see Tennessee play Tennessee Chattanooga. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need this, just some sacrificial lamb being tossed out there. I want these big time games. And maybe eventually when the P4 breaks off, that's another story for another day, we can have these big games. This almost feels like NFL light right here. And I love this. And I love that it's not at a neutral site. It's not in Vegas. It's not in Atlanta. This is in the big house. This is the way it should be. This is college football at its purest. I'm so excited.
Also, another thing, I heard this on the radio yesterday. Michigan's coach is playing without a guaranteed contract. So they got something to prove.
Yeah.
The players obviously know that. They love them. So maybe it's extra fuel for the fire. Not that you need more than a top 10 matchup, but still, it's motivation.
Sharon Moore does love Michigan. Remember him crying last year when he got to win as interim coach when Jim Harbaugh was suspended? Oh, speaking of which, before we go into our NFL picks, let me just recap. I got Texas minus 7, App State plus a 16.5 at Clemson, and Boise State plus 19 at Oregon. Speaking of Michigan, Connor Stallions, do you see where he's now a high school head football coach?
Yeah.
So he was on the staff at some school outside of Detroit. There was controversy about hiring him. Apparently, the head coach had like a mini stroke. So now he's like acting head coach. So he finally has fulfilled his destiny. He finally is a coach there. Who knows? Maybe he'll go the Chad Morris route and go straight from coaching high school to college. Hopefully it works out better for him than Chad Morris, though.
best high school scout in the nation.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Can you imagine being at, I don't know, Detroit Catholic and you're gonna play Connor Stallions and like, okay, guys, we're gonna need to put tarps up. You know, we're just gonna practice in the gym and we're gonna block out everything. I'm sure he's gonna like, this guy was ex-military. I'm sure he's gonna like, crawl up through a drain pipe and drill a hole or something like that to watch.
He's in the vents.
Yeah. All right. Going over to National Football League, Scotty, I will start with you there on your picks. And am I reading this right for your first game? You built your graphics, so I'm going to put this together. You have Carolina and New Orleans.
Hey man, we're here to win money, not pick exciting games.
You got to be a sick puppy to watch this in an NFC South show now.
Well, you'll appreciate my pick then, because I'm going with the under 41.5 here.
Oof.
It's two bad offenses. I'm sure both offenses will be a little better, but not enough. Carolina did add Deontay Johnson, which I like as a safety blanket, but he's probably going to have Marshawn Lattimore on him, so he's going to be locked up all game, meaning Bryce Young's not going to have anybody to throw to once again. And just going back, looking at last year, this 41.5 number, Carolina was 5-12 to the only 5 games over this number last year. And the Saints only hit over this number 6 out of 17 games. So 2 bad teams, 2 bad offenses. Both of their games last year went under this number. It's going to be a terrible game, terrible watch. Give me the under 41.5.
I don't have a lot of thoughts on this. I co-sign everything that you said. I went through and did the whole card of over and unders this week. And yeah, I did have the under on this. And may God have mercy on your soul if you bought tickets to this game. I hope the tailgating is good.
Yeah, I should have put a poo emoji in this one.
Well, your next one isn't much better, Scotty.
Hey, man,
Chris.
really,
I'm sorry, Chris. I forgot to get your thoughts. Any extra thoughts on Carolina, New Orleans?
everyone's wanting to know.
Carolina +4.
Okay, Carolina +4, just to be a contrarian.
Yep.
All right, Scotty, your next one here. Another bad game.
There's really not a lot of like great matchups in week 1 if you go through all of them. But this one, I don't know why Minnesota is favored on the road with anybody, maybe except for the Patriots. But I think maybe the hard knocks, goofy GM for the Giants maybe is hurting them. I don't know. They lost Saquon, and they have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. But every now and then, Daniel Jones against bad teams can look decent. I think they're going to win. Wait. That should be a +2, so I'll fuck my graphic up too.
Look, I was about to say, look at you. I will fix that. I will fix that. As soon as you said it, I'm looking at my phone and looking at my list. I'm like, wait a minute here. This is why we both don't work in graphic design there. But anyway, go on.
Well, this is what happens when you wake up and do a 9 a.m. show and start putting stuff in at 8 a.m. But yeah, the Vikings are favored by 2 points for some reason. Sam Darnold is their quarterback. They lost their rookie quarterback for the year already. So they're probably demoralized. I'm sure Justin Jefferson's going to be asking for a trade by the end of the year. Daniel Jones is as bad as Daniel Jones is. He's won a playoff game. He can move the ball. They're going to win this game outright. So I'm definitely taking the 2 points.
Boom. I don't have a lot of thoughts on this one. The Giants are a train wreck. Daniel Jones is just absolutely terrible. Their best offensive weapon scored 3 touchdowns for the Eagles yesterday. There's not a lot to be excited about with this Giants team, except for those cool throwback uniforms that they're going to be wearing this year with the winged helmets. If the Giants would like to send me one of those, I will gladly talk very positively about your team. I am in the market for an NFL team, New York Football Giants, so I can be bought with gear, especially that winged helmet. I like Minnesota minus the 2 points here. And hopefully Jordan Addison's healthy and can make a contribution there, and Sam Darnold doesn't get him killed with some of his throws.
Yeah, Darnold at New York. It's not fun.
Hey, maybe he won't see Ghost this time when he's in New York. Who knows?
He'll see a lot of other stuff though.
I'm going. I hate being on the same side as Leon. I'm going with the superior coaching, superior talent. Justin Jefferson, best player in this game. Minnesota's coach, great. Maybe he can actually salvage Sam Darnold's career. Hey, look what he did for Kirk Cousins. He got him another guaranteed contract. So,
Well, that's just what Kirk does.
yeah, I'm going Minnesota -2.
There we go. Minnesota minus the 2 points there. All right, and the last one on your dance card, which I think my in-laws actually went to Atlanta for this game. They are big Steeler fans. Well, my father-in-law is. I think they actually went to Atlanta for this game. At least the concessions are cheap. But Atlanta hosting Pittsburgh there.
Yeah, I think, Chris, you have this game too. That's why I went ahead and put it last. But you're speaking of Kirk Cousins. As a 3.5-point favorite coming off an Achilles injury with a new team, with a bunch of young stars that are supposed to be good but haven't shown it yet. Give me Pittsburgh all day. I think they'll probably win this game outright too. Now, it does seem like Justin Fields may have to start, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. They're probably going to have a run-heavy offense, let Justin Fields use his legs, slow the game down, run some clock. It's going to be a close game. It's probably not going to be a very pretty game either, but I can see Pittsburgh winning this one, so give me the 3.5 points.
All right, so the recap real quick before we go to Chris, because he has that same card. You took Carolina, New Orleans.
Under 41.5.
Minnesota minus the 2 at the Giants.
Giants +2.
I mean, excuse me, you took Giants +2. And then we're going on this game.
Pittsburgh +3.5.
Pittsburgh +3.5. So, Chris,
this and that might move up to 4, I think, once they announce Russell Wilson's not playing.
Yeah, what was it, a calf injury for Russell?
Something. I don't know. He might have hurt himself doing a weird TikTok. I don't know.
He was doing that thing on the plane where he's like doing the reps. Yeah, I don't know what the hell he was doing there. maybe injured, sex with Sierra, injury out. Who knows?
Hey, man.
Could be worse. Could be a worse way to get hurt.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Steelers, Falcons there. Chris, your thoughts on this one, on your card?
I went back and forth on this one. I don't see Kirk Cousins being good. They do have a ton of young stars. I need Drake London to be good this year. I don't know if he's going to be in this first game against the Steelers. I stayed away from the line. I'm going under 41.5. I think the Steelers defense is just that good, and I think their offense is going to be just that bad. So under 41.5.
Under 41.5 there. All right.
I like
and
that.
then on this one, I don't know. I don't feel committed picking a side until I know who's playing quarterback for Pittsburgh. So I kind of like the under on this one too there. Before we go to your next pick, I do have some breaking news here that I wanted to share with you guys, courtesy of Pardon My Take. They are around the forefront of all breaking news there. Big story right now. Some breaking news. You guys can see that the Packers are the only team in the NFL to lose in another continent this season. So
just like I think they put the one up. It might have been them. It might have been somebody else with Florida State. It's the only team to lose in 2 continents.
Yeah. Which, hey, I don't think there's another college football game. There isn't another college football game in another continent. So that's very true. 24 season, they're the only one. So until someone loses in one of those fakakta European games, Green Bay, you'll have to own this moniker. Or maybe all the European games will be ties this year. They'll be the only one to lose.
Make everybody happy over there.
Yeah, they're very true. Very true.
Love those.
Yeah. All right, Chris. So you got Steelers Falcons there. Your other 1:00 game, the Battle of the Sunshine State, the Jags and the Dolphins there from Hard Rock Stadium? Yeah.
Yeah. Dolphins are going to score a lot of points this year. I don't know if they're going to do it in week 1. My brain is telling me take the Dolphins in the 3.5, but I just have a feeling the Jaguars are going to keep it close. They're not going to be affected by the heat. Florida's just a fucking inferno of hell at this time of year, so they're going to be used to it. Jaguars +3.5. Trevor Lawrence has something to prove. especially after the ending of last season. So I think Jaguars are coming out hot, plus 3.5. They'll keep it close.
I co-sign with you. I hate being on the same side as you. I actually like Jacksonville to win this game outright. It's not my underdog of the week, but I actually like the Jags to go in there because they're going to be jagging off down there in South Florida. I may be partially on the Jaguars bandwagon this year. I really do like that team. But yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence and them, they have enough offense to keep things. I think that offense is going to miss Calvin Ridley, though, who's in Tennessee this year. But I think Evan Ingram's going to have a big year for them. And if ETN can stay healthy, and I like, Tank as well, Tank Bigsby. So I think Jacksonville has enough weapons to keep pace, and I think their defense will make a couple plays. I do like them to win outright. But yeah, give me those 3.5 points. Scotty?
I do hope Evan Ingram has a big week since they are likely sitting on my bench against Chris this week. But I actually disagree with both of you. I don't think the Jaguars secondary is going to be able to slow down those wide receivers. I think they're going to score a lot of points. Yeah, I think they're going to cover this number, win by at least a touchdown.
All right. And then we already went over Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Then the last one on your dance card here is the battle of teams that used to employ Russell Wilson, the Broncos and the Seahawks.
I think Sean Payton is the most overrated coach in the history of football. They have zero quarterback there. I think the Seahawks roll. Seahawks by at least 10. But, yeah, give me the -6. Broncos suck.
Scotty?
If this wasn't in Seattle, I would disagree, but Bo Nix looked decent in preseason. It's preseason, but he does seem like Sean Payton, which I do agree Sean Payton is overrated. But Bo Nix is his type of quarterback, I believe. So I think he's going to be able to make him look better than what he really is, but not this week. At Seattle's a beast, the 12th man and all that. Yeah, I agree. Give me the -6.
Yeah, I'm on the same side as you guys with this. Bo Nix, I think it's going to be the real deal, but to have your first regular season NFL start on the road in that environment in Seattle, which is just a cauldron of noise there, I think it's going to be tough. I like Seattle to cover the 6 points here as well. So, Chris, to recap for you, Jaguars, Dolphins.
Jaguars and the points.
Plus the 3.5.
Whatever that was, 3.5.
Yep, Pittsburgh and the Falcons.
Pittsburgh.
Plus the 3.5. Yep.
I thought you had
And
under.
then,
I thought you,
yeah,
Did
you
I
went
took,
under.
yeah, I took the under.
You went
I
under.
took the
Yeah,
under.
you were vacillating, I think, but yeah, you went under. And
early.
then Broncos, Seahawks, you took Seattle -6. All right. And then my NFL picks here, we will move over. Titans Bears in Chicago. There, Chicago 3.5 point favorite. Did I get that right on the graphic? Because it didn't feel right when I typed it. Yep. Okay. It just didn't
I guess
feel
we know
right.
what you're picking.
Yep, 44.5. Actually, no. I'm taking the Bears -3.5. I think I like the addition of Swift. And if they can rotate the backs with Khalil Herbert and run the ball a little bit, churn the clock. I don't think they need to necessarily hide Caleb Williams, but I don't want to toss a ton on a rookie in his first game and make him have to go out and win the game, though I think. I may be wrong. Well, listen, I don't like him as a guy. He just seems like he's a little bit out there and a little bit weird, but the guy can play fucking football. You know what I mean? Like, he's very talented. He can make all the throws. He can do everything. I love Rome Odunze, the addition there, and having DJ Moore as well. I like Cole Kmet. I think they got weapons in Chicago. This Tennessee team, I'm not quite sure about. I think losing Derrick Henry's going to hurt more than they think. So, yeah, I like Chicago -3.5 here.
Yeah, I disagree. I almost put this on my card with Titans plus 3.5, but there is a small chance that the Bears come out like the Texans did last year. But I just think the Bears are not quite as good as people think, not this year anyways, and the Titans are a little better. I think this is going to go right down to the wire. Probably be a 3-point game either way.
You think this is the hard knocksification of the Bears there, where everyone's kind of watching Hard Knocks and like getting on them?
Yeah, it's very possible. I think they're favored to make the playoffs, which is crazy to me. I don't know. It's it could happen. Like I said, with CJ Stroud is kind of, I think, what people think the Bears are going to be, the Texans team from last year. But that doesn't happen every year. That's an anomaly. It usually takes some time. They still got to build that offensive line. I think it's not going to be this year. I don't think, but future is definitely bright. We'll just give it a year or two.
Hey, you never know, especially after last night. I mean, who knows? Knock on wood. Hopefully, Jordan Love didn't have a serious injury, but if he's out for a sustained period of time, and you got Sam Darnold quarterbacking in Minnesota, all of a sudden that division looks a lot less scary than it once did. Obviously, the Detroit is the beast of the North there, but maybe you split games with the Lions, and who knows what happens. So I don't know. Chris, your thoughts on this one?
I don't have a read on the line. If anything, I would take the over. There's a lot of weapons on the field on both sides. I don't know anything about the defense on either team. I mean, I can't name anybody on the Titans defense. So I would just go with the over if I was picking anything, but I'm staying away from this game.
You're not a Jeffrey Simmons fan. Of course, the only Jeffrey that Chris knows two Jeffreys. There's the butler on the Fresh Prince, and then there's the Jeffree Star person. He knows them.
I thought you were going Dahmer.
Yeah, that's
Dahmer. Yeah, he knows three Jeffreys. Yeah,
he is in a basement.
It's very true.
Who is Jeffree Star?
Right up there with a big Frida fame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll just.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have some people on my timeline.
Go ahead and explain yourself.
Who share a lot of those things there. So
we know it's in your algorithm. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with
that.
No!
Oh God, no! My algorithm right now is whiskey, barbecue, and I don't know how I wound up on SEC sorority rush dance things, but like that's all it is.
Yeah, we know why.
I'm scouting for the future Mrs. Big O.
Well, it's not
mine. Why leaves me so.
Wait, keep my comments to myself.
There we go. All right. Next up here, Titans and Colts.
Texans.
Texans. I can't read. God damn it. Listen, I'm on beer 3 this morning. Okay, this is 2 on the podcast. I'm on beer 3.
Jesus.
Leave me alone. We're doing lines. I can't read. Texans at Colts there. I've heard some people, and I don't know why, they don't have anything to back it up. It's just one of those, look out for the sophomore slump from CJ Stroud. No, he's got Joe Mixon now. He's got Stephon Diggs as well. This team is already good. Doesn't matter how ugly the new uniforms look. They look all futuristic and weird. They had a chance to do something cool, and they didn't do it. Who cares? Anthony Richardson is going to get hurt again eventually at some point for the Colts. I hate to say it, but he is. Is Jonathan Taylor again? Because if I'm the Texans, if I'm the Texans, I'm just going to go ahead and load the box and say, beat me, Anthony Richardson, because they got Michael Pittman. I don't know if their pass contact necessarily scares me. Houston's going to be really good. Don't be shocked if they find themselves in Arrowhead playing against the Chiefs for the AFC title. I like the Texans minus 3 points here.
This one's tough for me. It's gut feeling saying the Colts are going to keep it close, but everything you just said makes sense. The only thing with the Texans is they are adding a lot of new pieces. Is that going to take time? Is Stephon Diggs going to be a disruptor? These division games are usually tough. And, I don't know. Something tells me that the Colts are going to keep it close, but Texans might very well come out and just blow them out. Anthony Richardson, like you said, might be out by the second quarter if he hasn't learned how to protect himself. Yeah. I don't know. I'll probably just find a player prop to play on this one. But yeah, that line, I don't like it.
Chris?
Colts overachieved last year with and without Anthony Richardson. I think they're a much better team than people think. I think the Texans are due for a letdown. I'd take the Colts plus 3. They're at home. At worst, it's a push.
Okay, there we go.
So,
and then
Colts plus 3.
And then the last one on my dance card here is Monday night. Aaron Rodgers going back to the state of California. My one day, maybe future vice president, Aaron Rodgers, going back to the state of California, taking on the 49ers, leading the Jets, Jets. Hopefully he lasts more than one series this time. If he leads it out in the field for a second series, I expect, pardon my take, to put up a graphic. This is Aaron Rodgers, longest tenure on the field with the New York Jets. Listen, I like this Jets team, and I love their defense. I did take them in one of my fantasy leagues. I'm not sure if it's the one with you guys, but I love their defense. I know there's so many questions about Aaron Rodgers and all the off-the-field stuff and the coming back from the Achilles, especially at that age. But Garrett Wilson's a freak. Breece Hall's a freak. Run the ball. I think they can keep pace. And there's always a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover with that team that loses in the Super Bowl. And I think especially coming back here, an organization that passed on Aaron, I think he's always kind of wanted to be out there. Kind of like when Brady's played against the Niners, these guys from California always kind of wanted to be out there, just never really given the time of day coming out by them. I think he'll have something to prove. And we've seen the playoff history that Aaron has against the Niners too. I think he'll be looking to get a win there, 30 miles north or whatever it is, San Francisco and Santa Clara. So I like the Jets plus the 4.5 here. Don't be surprised if they win outright though.
I don't know about winning outright, but I kind of agree with you, mainly because Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk holdouts. They haven't really been with the team. Are they in shape and game shape? I think this is going to be a very close game. I do think the 49ers probably win by like 3 or 4. And I like the under in this game too. But I just don't know also what the Jets are going to do. But I do think it'll be a close game. Jets, one of them teams, just throwing a bunch of talent together. Is it going to work? I don't know. The defense will be really good. It just depends. Also, Aaron Rodgers hasn't really played a football game in like 2 years. So we don't know what he's going to look like. He's old. What is he, pushing 40?
Yeah. Well, we don't know the healing powers of the ayahuasca, okay? And then he apparently went over to Egypt. Maybe he went into the Great Pyramid. Maybe he touched King Tut's tomb or something. Who knows what Egyptian special powers that he's brought back over? Who knows?
That's true. I do like Breece Hall. Worst case, they just pound the rock, play defense, keep it close. But yeah, should be a fun game.
Christopher?
I think the Jets organization is an absolute clown show, bordering on Washington level, just ludicrous. I don't fucking know, man. I think Aaron Rodgers' best days are way behind him. He's old as shit. He's one twist of an ankle away from his Achilles completely rupturing again. 49ers minus 4.5. I don't think it's going to be that close. I have no faith in the Jets until the Jets prove me wrong.
All right.
If the Niners didn't have the offseason drama, I'd probably be all over that number with them. But I don't know. This is week 2 or 3 also, maybe
they
49ers.
They have a legit head coach, a quarterback who's been in the system for a few years now. Nathaniel Hackett's on the other sideline calling offensive plays. What are we doing?
No, he's not. Aaron Rodgers is. Don't fool yourself.
Which, by the way,
that's why Hackett is there, so he could call. So Aaron Rodgers can call his own plays.
Yeah. And do we have faith in that? I don't.
I have faith in Aaron Rodgers if he can stay on the field with Garrett Wilson, but I don't know.
Did I see where Ricky Pearsall is listed as like doubtful or questionable or whatever after he was shot in the fucking chest? Like, there's no way this guy plays. You can't take a bullet to the chest and come out and play less than a week later.
Why not?
He's not playing it. He'll be out for a few weeks, but I think he'll be back.
Thank God he was okay. But
yeah.
Geez Louise, man. Like there's tough and then there's crazy. And there's usually a borderline there. But if you take one to the chest and you decide to suit up less than a week later, you're bordering on that crazy. There's being a team player, and then that's a little bit different than Ronnie Lott lopping off the tip of his finger and keep playing, Like you took a slug to the chest, bro. Like it's okay.
So,
no one's gonna fault you.
Now that you bring that up, that could be like a motivational factor if he's out there, comes out, and the crowd just goes nuts. That could add some.
He's
I just think it's going to be.
He's leading them out of the tunnel for sure.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
just see
if the
both
40
defenses taking control of this game. That's why I think it's going to be a close game. Not because I like the Jets or anything. I just think it's going to be a rough game.
I don't know if the 49ers have any like pregame, mumbo jumbo, like the Panthers bring back some alum to beat the drum, to keep pounding, and the Colts have someone to hit the anvil and stuff like that. We see videos of McAfee doing that, and the Vikings have someone with the Yaller horn, which is all fakakta because it's all electronic. They're just blowing into a thing for nothing.
Do that again. What are they doing?
Fuck you. My wife does that to me. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, he was typing," and she's like, "Oh, what was he doing?" Because she'll want me to like do the hand motions again.
What did your wife do to you?
Fuck you. There's some Italian in me somewhere. I talk with my hands. Leave me alone. But yeah, I don't know if they have some kind of crazy pregame thing, but maybe they mine for gold on the sideline or something. They need to have him do it. You know what I mean? Like the crowd cut to him and he's like shaking the pan for gold bits or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a new thing. San Francisco, your city's shit anyway. Bring out a panhandler, have him on the sideline, and have him sift for gold. And that would be your like pregame thing.
And they can give it to Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk.
There we go. And by the way, Ricky should have had Trent Williams with him because I saw that video the other day of like, what was it, like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, when the Browns, the 49ers played, the teams were about to fight, and Trent Williams comes over and like the whole Browns team just scatters. Trent Williams is that guy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to a bar.
That's happened.
Trent Williams is about that action.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a fight on the field and Trent Williams shows up, the fight ends. Somebody flies and then the fight's over.
If I'm a 49er, I'm just, look, Trent, listen, we can't, the team, money, we got to keep this thing together. We can make a run. I'm going to pay you weekly to go with me and be my personal security. You'll be the safest person in America because that's going to be like Mark Henry, just tossing motherfuckers around. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. All right, so that's where I'm going on that. And then lastly here, we have our underdog parlay.
Oh, yeah.
I fucked the dog parlay last week. Evan Swoboda, my Wyoming Cowboys, they let me down.
They fucking suck.
Arizona State hopped on them, man. Kenny Dillingham is doing something down there in the desert. They're trying to change things around, but yeah, that was not pretty. Wyoming hopefully can bounce back against a tough Idaho team this week, but 48-7, I believe it was, down in Tempe. So I fucked the parlay last week. But y'all had Notre Dame and Nevada getting upset wins last week.
Nevada.
And then fucking Wyoming. So, all right, week 2 of the of our underdog parlay here. Chris, you're going Syracuse against Georgia Tech.
Yep, they got a good quarterback. Georgia Tech's riding the hype. Syracuse home dog. Love the conference home dog. Let's go.
I actually really like this one too because Georgia Tech, there's so much hype, there's so much buzz on them. You go to Syracuse, weird shit happens in that dome. That's all you got to say. I can see this being a weird, zany game. I wouldn't even doubt overtime, some kind of crazy turnover, some weird bounce off the turf. That's just nothing makes sense in that dome. I don't mind Syracuse getting that dub here.
Yeah, I like it too. I almost put Syracuse +3 on my card. Is Georgia Tech good? They're riding off the Florida State win. That win is not quite as impressive now. We don't know what Georgia Tech is still. Like you said, going into Syracuse, into the dome. Yeah.
And they handled the Georgia State team last week, whose coach quit on them after 2 practices and joined South Carolina staff this past spring. So who knows?
We'll find out.
I have Illinois. I like the Illini. Brett Bielema, I think, is slowly building something there in beautiful Champaign-Urbana. Kansas coming in there. I think they're number 19 in the country. I think a lot of people expected Illinois to kind of make that turnaround last year, and I think we were just a little early on the Illini. I love the quarterback, Luke Altmaier, the transfer from Ole Miss. He looked really good last week. And I think the students are going to get behind them. I think they're going to have a little bit of a home crowd here. I think the Illinois team could be scrappy in the Big Ten. So I like the Illini there to get the dub there at home. And now as I'm looking at that, did I spell Illinois correctly?
Yeah, I just saw the I's and L's. You spelled underdog wrong, though. I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, fuck you, man. I'm like sitting there. Yeah, I did spell Illinois right. I'm questioning everything now. Look, I'm gonna be
Illinois.
Too many I's and L's in there.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it's one of those things that it never looks right. And by the way, how do you know a person's dumb? There's two good tests. Well, three. Number one, they're friends with Chris, so we're dumb. Number two, they say Reese's Pieces. That's a dumb person. And that was number two. Number three is if they say Illinois, they're a dumb person. Also, if they say Salmon, they're a dumb person. So actually, it's four things that you can decide if someone's dumb. It's
All right,
Illinois.
Scotty, what's your
not
pick?
Illinois.
Or being on a podcast with Leon makes you pretty dumb. But yeah, actually, I like
from that rant.
Yeah, I like the Illinois pick too. There, that also almost made my card. I liked watching that Kansas team last year. I haven't got a chance to watch them this year, but they're not to be trusted as a road favorite. So yeah, I like that. All right, but yeah, my pick. You got any thoughts on the game, Chris? The Illinois game?
No, I would have stayed away from that, but I would lean Kansas if I was doing anything.
All right. So yeah, I'm going with the Raiders at LA. Is that where the Chargers are still playing? Have they moved again yet?
Yeah.
They need to move. They need to move back home.
Yeah.
Word has it that Butte, Montana has put in a bid there for the Chargers. I'm just joking. Go on.
But yeah, I don't.
I apologize, Lord.
The show's gone off the rails.
I think the Raiders are a little underrated. They're not going to be a great team this year, but Harbaugh's first game, I think it's going to take him a year or two to get his guys in place. They still don't really have anybody to throw the ball to. They don't really have a good power back. I mean, Gus Edwards is there. I don't know. I don't even know who's going to be running the ball. Who's going to be RB1 there?
Like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, I want to say.
Yeah, and then the rookie from Troy. But yeah, I don't know. They're just not going to come out being like a hardball team like everybody thinks they're going to be. Is Justin Herbert really that guy? We still don't know. I get to see the Raiders. They're got some. Who's starting? Minshew, right? The name starter. Yeah, not that it really matters. I think that offense looks similar with him or O'Connell. I think they'll either one. Minshew starting. He's going to do enough to get the win. They'll run the ball. Devontae Adams is there. It'll be a close game. But yeah, I just don't trust Harbaugh just coming out week one and him being what everybody thinks he's going to be. Give me the Raiders.
So, what was it? Like back in December, I think the Raiders beat them like 63-21 or something like that. I've heard some comments about Chargers like, I know why he embarrasses us like that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. You suck. It's going to be mostly Raider fans at this game. This game is in LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be it's going to be a Raider home game. It's going to be a loud environment. They beat them 63-21 last time. I'm not sure if they're going to blow them out again, but yeah, the Raiders are going to get this win.
Well, yeah, the line says that on neutral field, that this would be a pick 'em. And there is, like you said, there's no really real home field advantage. Like you said, it'll probably be about 50-50.
I doubt that. I would say it's going to be there. Who's a Charger fan? Like literally, who's a Charger fan in LA? Remember when they were playing that soccer stadium and people were like Eagles fans, like took it over. There's a West Coast Eagle. Yeah, it's probably gonna be 70-30 Raider Nation, Gorilla and all those guys that dress up like Darth Vader and the spikes, and they're scary motherfuckers, man. Like, yeah, Hell's Angels will probably be out there rooting for the Raiders.
Yeah, I was being nice with the 50-50, but yeah, go Raiders.
Chris?
I have no faith in the Raiders whatsoever. I think the Chargers are going to be the surprise team of that division. Harbaugh is far superior coach. Herbert's supposed to be a far superior quarterback, so I'll take the coach and the quarterback.
Man, but hey, you're rooting for this for the parlay so we can make money.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean,
plus
I'm putting
12.
this in, but my heart my brain says otherwise. But go Syracuse.
There we go. Plus 12.22. Somebody that's better at math than me. What is that, Scotty? You put $100 on it. What does that pay out?
you'll win that number. Put $100 up, you win $1,222.
Ooh, that buys you a lot of Coors Lights here. I've gone through hams. I've drank hams. I've had a Tecate whose can now is rolled away from me, and now I'm on the Coors Lights. And I had a beer that I brought back from New Jersey before this show started. So we're feeling pretty good. And we're doing lines, so we're going to get into the bourbon before kickoff at noon here. So yeah, college football Saturdays, we go all out here, and I'm going to make my patented burn your asshole chili too. So it's going to be great. We're looking forward for a great weekend of football. I'm going to gain 17 pounds and destroy what's left of my liver.
I feel bad for your wife.
I feel bad for my
woman.
I feel bad for my plumber. I mean, come on, man. Like,
Jesus.
Is he on? Do you have him on speed dial?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Me and Rob are good friends, sir.
You got the good VIP friends. Package.
Oh yeah, we got it's called the Shitter Special. 3 visits and your 4th one's free. So yeah, maybe we need a plumbing company to sponsor this. Hey, plumbing companies, if you want to do some lines on Saturday morning, we're your guys. And Chris, maybe
if we keep picking like we have, then that'd be the perfect sponsor.
That's very true. Chris, the bar that you go to, that the urinal has been broken for, since Obama was in the White House, maybe they can get that fixed. Every time we go back, that urinal still has a thing over it, and it's still broken. Actually, Clinton might have been in the office the last time that urinal.
I have not been to that bar in over 6 months.
Yeah, well, I don't know how they're paying their rent, but Jesus Christ, fix the goddamn urinal. All right.
Thanks, Obama.
The comments of Scotty Too Hottie. He's the lefty. All right.
God.
Let's get the hell out of here. We will see you. I'll bump it here. We will see you all next Thursday. Next Saturday morning, right here, doing lines.
Peace. I don't know what the fuck happened with your audio there. Just cut it off.